Hi, my name is Hannah Hughes, and this is my midterm response for my English 333 class. In this video, I will be analyzing the article We Want to Work with Our Friends by Diane Kinkari and discussing how I will use the research and insight gathered from her classroom to help benefit my future students. In Diane's classroom and in her article, she noticed that a small group of students were constantly wanting to participate in group discussions and answer questions, usually raising their hands first, so they weren't giving any other students room to participate. The students who often wanted to participate were usually boys of a higher socioeconomic status, while girls, quiet students, and kids who learned English as a second language were often last to participate in group discussion or answer any meaningful questions. Wanting to have a more inclusive classroom where all students had the opportunity to share their ideas, she simply asked the students why they weren't participating in group discussions or questions. Some answered because they were embarrassed to get the answer wrong, while others didn't feel confident to speak in front of the classroom. When furthering her research, she asked the students to line up, and unknowingly, the students lined themselves up by gender, race, and socioeconomic status. This was her worst fear of all, being that her diverse public classroom was not as diverse as it looked or as she once believed it to be. At this point, Diane knew she had to do two things: deal with participation issues directly and build a sense of community within the classroom. The issue of participation varying among different groups of students is one that every teacher will encounter at some point in their career, and something that you will see in almost every single classroom. While some of us may go into private schooling systems, most of us will find ourselves in the public schools where diversity is uniquely challenging and important. The response from Diane's classroom can help guide us as teachers to participate in practices that help promote inclusivity and diversity in our classroom. Because I will be teaching kindergarten, one of the tools I will be using in the classroom is to mix up diversity is to switch the seating chart every few weeks. I will be lucky enough to be getting students that are young, that maybe haven't made friendship connections yet, so I can help diversify their friendship groups from the beginning just by seating arrangements. We all know that sometimes your best friend for life is the person that sat next to you in kindergarten. Like Diane in her classroom, I can use group time as a way to allow students to pick a partner that maybe they have not worked with yet, but maybe they want to. This can help promote community while also allowing students to work with people that they haven't worked with quite yet. This method could be a little challenging for kindergarten. If so, I could arrange groups myself that were not limited to the people at the students' tables, but instead rotating groups and group members for different activities. I can also do icebreakers and trust activities like Diane did in her classroom to help build that sense of community. The point of building this sense of community or promoting a sense of community is to allow students to feel safe within your classroom, which will allow them to open up more and lead to higher levels of participation. And maybe you'll see that student that doesn't normally participate start to participate and feel a little bit more comfortable. To diversify student participation, I can use tools such as random selection, popsicle sticks, etc. to start calling on students because sometimes they just won't raise their hands. With that being said, I must implement inclusivity in my classroom by allowing a safe place for students to get the answer wrong without fear of being reprimanded or made fun of. The way I can achieve this is by not embarrassing students myself if they get the wrong answer, and flat out saying, no, you're wrong, but by maybe helping build them to the right answer, helping build off what they have already said. I will also have to discipline students who do tease or make fun of other students for answering questions to set the tone that that's not okay in our classroom. Bullying is not okay, and it will not be tolerated. Touching back on the quiet students for a moment, I had recently watched the Google Classroom observation for this class, in which a kindergarten teacher was doing a reading lesson for her kindergarten students. Whenever a quiet student would answer a question, and they were doing it in a low voice instead of telling them to speak up or that she can't hear them, something that oftentimes would embarrass a student, she told them to speak with conviction. That little bit of, or that little saying was such a confidence booster, I thought, and really helped students understand that they need to speak a little louder, teaching them an important public speaking skill, but also giving them a little bit of confidence. Building student confidence is very important to having students feel included in the classroom and in conversations. Students who feel confident to answer questions in a classroom are more likely to participate in classroom discussions, which is really giving them a more meaningful learning experience, which is what it's all about. As a future teacher, we are expected to adapt to our classroom rather than have our classroom adapt to our teaching style. This being said, that something that may work to promote inclusivity in one classroom may not work in another classroom. Being a reflective teacher and always checking back with our students to see what we can do to help promote inclusivity and diversity in our classroom is probably the most important tool we can use to achieve a safe and positive learning environment for all. And it's really not that hard. You just ask the students. Just ask them what you can do. Thank you for listening. That's been my response to Diane Konkari's We Want to Work with Our Friends. Thank you and have a nice day.